Hello, music lovers. Welcome to Music is a Journey. I'm Peter, and this is Thread Week here at Music is a Journey, and this is video number 6 in my string of thread response videos. How about that? Yes, so there have been a number of threads and contests and competitions going around the last couple of months, and I have not been able to participate in most of them. But I am away from July 20th to July 26th, and I thought it might be fun to just upload a bunch of videos responding to these different threads and contests and competitions, and have them scheduled to be released almost every day while I'm away. So that's what we're doing here, huh? Okay, so actually, yeah, at the time you're watching this video, I'm probably not here. Already I did the gag where I got up and left and showed an empty table, so you get the picture. Okay, so today's thread is a response to Jack over at the Vinyl Voyage. The Vinyl Voyage over in Scotland. Craig, Jack has had this really great series going. It's a quiz show called If I Could Only Remember the Name. He's pairing up two different people from the vinyl community and giving them some really tough questions sometimes. Some of them are super easy, but most of them tough. I think it's like round 1, 2, and 3, 6 questions in each, and I think the most I've ever scored is 6 points watching these videos. There have been some great videos, lots of really funny characters, lots of laughs, and it's fun to try to do the quizzes as well. So if you have not, for some reason, seen Jack the Vinyl Voyage guys, Jack at the Vinyl Voyage, that guy, if you haven't seen any of his quiz videos, you really should watch them. They just finished like the whole first, preliminaries, I guess. Last one was Ben Rankins and Harris Pilton. That was a really funny one. Okay, so back in, what was it? July 1st, actually. On July 1st, Jack did a video showing 7 albums from 7 different genres. And he said that he usually shows particular genres on his channel, but he has other genres in his collection that he normally doesn't show very much, and he doesn't have so many of some of them. So he thought he would try to show 7 different genres for some variety. So I thought that sounded fun, and I think I saw Darryl, the Northern Vinyl guy, do this, and then I thought, yeah, okay, I think I can fit this into my thread week. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to go with something called Freak Beat. I just watched, what's it called? Pop Goes the 60s. Did a video on Freak Beat just a week or two ago, and I watched that, and I thought it was really interesting because it's this period in British music, you know, around 63, 64, they were really big on the blues, and then around 67, it evolved more into psychedelia. So somewhere between like late 65 and early 67, there was this period of more aggressive guitar-driven rock coming out of Britain, many bands involved in that. And watching that video, there were many of them that I knew, a few of them I had in my collection, and then there were some that I didn't know that sounded really cool. So one of them mentioned was a band called The Byrds. This is the British Byrds, Bird spelled with an I, not the American Bird spelled with a Y. And Ron Wood, where is he here? I think that might be him here. Ron Wood is in this band. So they are an example of Freak Beat. Yeah, basically sounds like a precursor to 90s Britpop in a way. A little bit more aggressive guitar-driven rock. And there is a song on here. Oh, geez, I can't read these. Ha ha ha. I think it's the track called Leaving here, but I might be wrong. But anyway, that was covered by Motorhead. I think it might have been either on their first album or as a bonus track. But anyway, of course, no surprise that Lemmy listened to the Byrds back in the day. So that's Freak Beat. Next up, well, I do show this from time to time. This is brutal death metal, and this is Cryptopsy, a band from Canada. This is As Gomorrah Burns, which came out in, was it 2023? And they won a Juno Award for this album. That is the Juno Award for Best Hard and Heavy Music Album, I think it was. Anyway, there's an award in Canada, our top music awards. There's an award for hard and heavy music, and this album won it in 2024, and that's from 2023. So that is brutal death metal with Cryptopsy. Now let's go in a very different direction, and let's take a look at religious. And this came up, of course, because Darryl, the Northern Vinyl guy, he's got some religious records in his collection, so I thought, why not? This is I don't remember if this is Amy Grant's debut album or it's her first or second or first major label debut, but it goes back to the early 80s. I think this is 82. Yes, it is. Age to Age. So I was into Christian music in the late 80s, early 90s, and I let myself go. Like I just, not just hard rock and metal. Let me try a little bit of everything. And there was a song on here called Fat Baby. And Fat Baby was about one of these Christian types who was always quoting from the Bible and, saying what a good Christian he is and what a good religious life he's leading and all that. But he actually has no spirit into it. It's all kind of like about following the rules and not actually, giving into the spirit of the whole thing. So that's what she's pointing out. It's a very humorous song. It's like one of those fun jazz type things with backing vocals and funny lyrics. One of the lines is, he's got the biggest King James you've ever seen. A great song. And there are a couple of other tracks on here I really like. Actually, some of the really slow, like early 80s, late night, mellow out type of female sung tracks. I actually like some of those here. So I've always kept this album because, yeah, strangely enough, I like some of the songs on here. So that is religious and the softer type, not the metal type. Okay, and while I was digging in my Christian CD box, I pulled out Mansfield Turner. It's called Mansfield Turner, right? I haven't listened to this in a long time. This is Blues with a Feeling. They've got like a whole caseload of harmonicas. This is guitar and harmonica, electric guitar and harmonica blues rock album. And I always thought they did such a great job of it. So even though I don't listen to blues very much, I wanted to keep this for those special moments when I feel like listening to it. And there's a cover here of Nobody's Fault But Mine by Led Zeppelin. They cover that song on here. I do prefer the Led Zeppelin version more, but good to hear some of these Christian bands covering some of those 70s rock bands. So that's awesome. All right, and then something, I guess it goes under folk or traditional or possibly new age in some ways. This is a group called Night Noise. So back in the 90s, I did all these multimedia presentations showing slides of nature and landscapes put to music. And I was always searching for these kind of soft country feeling or new age feeling or acoustic type or Celtic type things. And so I heard a track by a group called Night Noise. So I went out and bought a CD. And this one here is called, what is it called? It's called Shadow of Time. I have not listened to this probably since the 90s. And it's one of the few CDs in my collection that is not in my computer yet. So I should probably fix that sometime here during the summer. But that is for what? Folk, Celtic, traditional, I guess. So that is Night Noise. Then, let's just say to heck with it here. Japanese indie rock. This is a band from the early 2000s called Yogurt Poo. Yes, Yogurt Poo. And they are just a great indie rock band. Some really over-the-top, charging, screamy, shouty, punky tracks. Some of them more, clean guitar, slight touches of jazz here and there, and then suddenly the fuzz box comes on. Very interesting band. I just recently picked up their 2 full-length albums, which were released way back when. Still lots of cool tracks, but I prefer their first EP and the second one that came after this. They're the ones that have the most indie feeling to them. And yeah, some of the coolest tracks. So that is Japanese indie rock Yogurt Poo. Good for the diet. Which end of it, I don't know. And finally, something I picked up this year. This is Tanya Tagaq and an album called Tongues. So Jack's final album was one that is a little bit difficult to classify, and Tanya Tagaq is a little difficult to classify. First of all, she's an Inuit woman from Nunavut, Canada. She is known for the traditional Inuit throat singing. However, unlike other traditional throat singing in pop music women I've heard, she really experiments and does her own thing with it. Sometimes could sound like Yoko Ono. Sometimes could sound like she's in a death metal band. She does so much with her voice. There is a TED performance of her, and it might be a little bit too much, but it's interesting. Anyway, she does that on here. She also is not so much of a singer on this album. She does a lot more kind of talk singing or saying things and then throwing in some of her voice throat effects. As well, the music on here is mostly electronic, but in a way, it sounds to me like the closest thing I can think of is maybe Bjork, but I'm not really into Bjork, so I only have this vague impression of what her music sounds like. So perhaps electronica, traditional, avant-garde. And some of the tracks I like best are actually the first two, three, and four: Tongues, Colonizer, and Teeth Agape. These are on videos on YouTube as well, and I just love those three because there's such darkness and anger and like basically against the colonizers. You know, tongues is they tried to take our tongues, they tried to take our culture. You can't take that from me. I love it when she sings like, I don't want your God. Put him down. Put him down. Like, anyway, that's from Colonizer. Tongues, and Teeth Agape is just about like, you know, protecting herself, protecting her children. You know, don't touch my children. Or my teeth will find your windpipe, something like this. Anyway, I don't know what genre you'd put her in. She's traditional, she's native, but at the same time, electronic, avant-garde, experimental, all sorts of stuff. So that's Tanya Tagaq with her album Tongues. And yes, that is a female mouth blowing a saliva bubble. The cover. That's fun. Haven't done that for a long time. Okay, so that's for Jack at the Vinyl Voyage for his thread of 7 albums and 7 genres. I don't think he intended it to be a thread, but it was just such a fun idea to do so. And thanks to Darryl at the Northern Vinyl Guy for his video, which really inspired me to do mine. And that's it. That's the end of my thread week. I don't know how soon I'll be back with other videos. It's hot in this room. I got lots of stuff to do. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I will address all comments for these last 6 videos when I get a chance to after I'm back again. So everyone, take care, enjoy your summer. Bye.